didn't have a song ready, yo.
Well, it's recording, yo.
Oh God, it's already recording. Okay, let me come up with something.
Fail.
Boo. There's a womp womp. Gosh, I wasn't thinking about it. Wait, what's the one? It goes. I was drunk the day my mom got out of prison, and I went to pick her up in the rain. But before I could get to something in my pickup truck, what happens next? She got run over by a damned old train.
I don't remember.
You've never heard this song.
What? Y'all are tripping.
We're back to incarceration, apparently.
So I'll stay around as long as you will let
Who
me.
sings
Let me. I never minded standing in the rain. And you don't have to call me darling.
That's not the same song.
Darling. Yes, it is. You never even. It's Call Me By My Name. Call me by my name. Call me by my name. Oh, no, that's just Lil Nas X at this point. Kevin, what's the name of this song? I was drunk the day my mom got out of prison. Okay, welcome to Pints and Perspectives. It's David Allen Coe. You never call me by my name. Come on.
Yep.
David Allen
Coe.
You never call me by my
Kev
name.
knows the song, I'm sure.
I'm surprised at your lack of country music knowledge. Welcome to Pints and Perspectives. I'm Adam. This is Cullen. And that, once again, for the third time in a row, is, drumroll please, Hannah Oh Yeah Smith.
Okay, friends, real quick. You know, it has been episode 3 now with Hannah Smith. And so we are finally getting our footage back of her for the last half of this episode. It's like 11 or 12 or something minutes without it. So there'll be a picture in the bottom left of her until her video footage starts at the halfway point.
Colleague, peer, friend, what's something unique about you, Hannah, that, I know. What's your favorite game to play on Friday nights, Hannah?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, you're so cool. Why?
And every Dungeons and Dragons person just loved you all the more.
Okay, are you a Stranger Things fan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite season of Stranger Things? I personally believe that season 3 of Stranger Things was the best season.
Really?
Are they done making them?
No.
I don't
No.
think
So how can you say that?
Millie Bobby for president, even though she's not American.
Yeah. She's so cute.
Why Dungeons and Dragons?
Why? It's fantasy, which I feel like is a really good escape from like the constant death and tragedy of my life because of my work.
Yeah.
I really need novelty in my life. It's like an
Okay.
intentional choice for joy. and
Isn't
novelty.
there like a lot of death and killing in Dungeons and Dragons as well? Though?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's fantastical though, and it's
Sure,
when it's a dragon killing you. Is it really the same thing? No.
No, I guess not, Hannah. Very cool, very cool. All right, what are we drinking today? Cullen, do you want to start? Looks like you're prepared.
I'm not, because 11 Below is
Whack. No, we love you, love.
sucking up right now.
Sucking. What does that mean? That's I'm
That's
uncomfortable.
me trying to censor my way of saying fuck.
Oh my gosh.
They have a seasonal release that's a Pilsner. It's called Lil Snack.
Little snack.
That was your nickname in high school?
Episode 3 is always the best.
Yeah, I don't know that the congregants are ready for my response to that. So
Little
we're gonna move
snack.
right along.
Little snack.
We're gonna move right along. I do love a little snack.
A whole
but,
snack with a side of chips. You know what I'm talking about?
A snack and a snack and a snack.
Oh, man.
Okay, 11 Below Brewing. They are a Houston brewery. I think they're out of Katy, if I remember correctly.
I have no clue. We have so many
Yes?
breweries now.
Yes.
I said nice.
Oh,
Cool.
I thought you said
She doesn't
yes.
know.
Proudly brewed in Houston. That's what it says right here.
A Sound for Life.
Oh shit! Okay, so you know how Carbach does the recycle, damn it, for their recycle logo.
Yes, I know. They
Have a snack. Trash is whack.
trash is whack.
That's what it says.
Dude, I think they sorry, go ahead.
So this is a Pilsner. 4.5% ABV, so standard Pilsner. So sometimes you just need a little something to hold you over when a snack attack comes calling. With its clean German Pilsner malt and noble hop character, Lil Snack was built to crush your cravings in the heat of summer. It might be small, but it's a whole snack. Well, God love a whole snack.
Well, I just like saying little snack.
Little snack.
Hannah, what do you got over there?
Crawford Bach.
That's correct.
That's one of
I've had
Adam's
this
favorite
before.
beers.
Yeah.
You've had it before? Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me.
It's fine. 19 IBU. So is it the higher the number, the more bitter it is, or the lower the number?
Higher,
Okay.
higher.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep, we're playing basketball here, not golf.
Whoa.
Okay. Again with the analogy that I know nothing
She's
of.
like, cool.
Yeah.
It's a 4.5 ABV. It is a Bock with 2-row pale, medium crystal, Munich black malt. So it has a ton of malt.
Adam, do you know what it means when it is 2-row or 4-row?
Yeah, we've talked about this many times on this podcast. It's the basic. It's the hot. It's the American malt grain.
Well, American 2-row is, but there's also English 2-row. There's 4-row barley. There's all kinds of. And
literally don't care. What does it mean?
The
2 to 4.
difference is, does it have 2 heads of grain or does it have 4 heads?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
2-row or 4-row barley.
All I care about is wheat and tares, because this is a theology podcast. Moving on.
Did you catch that pun?
It was a Bible. It was a Bible reference. How many degrees? There's like 12 degrees in the room, and nobody got the Bible reference. Get out, everyone. Wheat and tares, wheat and weeds. Come on. Am I the only person here that went to seminary?
You're the only real Christian in the room. That's what it is.
Well, Pelagius. The internet slowed down.
Adam's floundering.
I'm not floundering on anything.
I don't see an answer to your so obvious Bible pun that the rest of us didn't get.
I think it was Jesus is separated, like some of the wheat.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Separating the wheat from the tares and the goat from the sheep, and like that's the future of the. Come on, y'all.
I know what you're talking about now.
The internet's not working.
Cool. You're so saved.
Hannah, there's nothing inherently wrong with me, so I don't need to be saved. Oh, how about that?
You have a sickness. Even your boy Pelagius would agree with that. You have a sickness that you must work to overcome, my guy.
Everybody does.
Right, but you still have it. It doesn't mean you have nothing to overcome.
Did God make me sick?
You were just made sick.
By whom?
Well, I don't know what Pelagius would say about
the Creator?
That. I don't think he would say
All right,
that.
I'm drinking Platypus Brewing.
Fun fact, I stole this beer out of Adam's fridge, and that's why I bought it to replace it.
I did not know this.
I was over at Adam's house one night, and the beer fridge was getting a little low, and so I had me a Stella Ella, and then I was like, you know what? I'll make him drink it on the podcast.
You just took it out of my fridge.
That's not an uncommon part of our relationship. This is our friendship. I take beer out of Adam's beer fridge.
You just walk out.
The uncommon part is that I brought it back.
You let me drink what you
Did
stole.
I let you drink your own beer at my house?
Hey, look, Cullen, do you remember? This is not the first Platypus Brewing we've done on this podcast. We've actually done 2 of them before. And do you remember what the number 1 critique you had of Platypus Brewing is?
Oh, yeah, their URL didn't match their
actual URL.
Can,
so the can says, so one of the things we do for this podcast is like we actually like look up the beer or and like do a little bit of research on it, read about it, whatever, so we can talk coherently. So this
we're at 3 episodes in. I don't know how coherent this is.
So this one, yes. So on previous episodes, platypusbrewing.com is what's printed on the can.
And it's platypus -something brewing.
Okay, brother, you ready to get even more pissed off at this brewery?
They changed it again?
No URLs work. Platypusbrewing.com, which is printed on the can, goes nowhere. Platypus-brewing.com, which was their actual URL.
That's what it used to.
Also now goes nowhere. I can't tell you anything about this beer.
Sounds like a promising company.
Maybe they listened to our podcast and realized how bad I did on them.
Well,
for it.
I'm sure you are the reason for everyone's choices.
I doubt it.
This is Stella Ella.
Oh my God! It took me to some Chinese version of an Amazon scam website when I clicked on the platform.
They got problems, y'all. They got problems. They've got problems. They
Plot twist. It's owned by a Chinese.
Oh my God. It's
And you know what?
Huawei.
That shit was months ago. Months ago.
Hannah, do you ever go out to Washington Avenue? I know you just play Dungeons and Dragons and never go to bars, but do you ever go to Washington Avenue?
Where is Washington Avenue?
Well,
On Washington.
that would answer my question.
Yeah.
This brewery is located there, or they once were. I don't know if they're even still open.
Well, you know what? Apparently they have an IG.
I am not
so
trendy enough for that.
Yeah,
let's see how
well,
the IG is handling.
apparently Platypus Brewing isn't trendy enough for a website, but this is a seasonal release. It is a Kolsch style ale. It is 12 fluid ounces in a can, 5.6% alcohol by volume. And that is the only information I can provide you on this beer because there's no footprint.
Website.
Yeah, no website on the
Yeah, their can still says platypusbrewing.com. Their IG link in bio says platypus-brewing.com.
which
Fix your fucking can.
which takes you to
No, it took me, when I went to it from IG, it took me to the actual website.
oh, there it is. Y'all got problems
Fix
over
your
there.
shit,
Y'all
guys.
got problems over there.
You
But-
better give this a terrible rating.
Oh, they have a restaurant, y'all. They have a whole restaurant at
and
their
they
brew.
don't.
We need to go over there. Okay, enough about this. We're taking forever on this. Who wants to go first? Who's talking?
Oh, actually, let me show you a trick I learned.
What?
I was going to do it on mine and I forgot.
The camera can't see that. What? Okay.
No, watch.
It
The
saves.
can keeps it from overflowing and it gives it a perfect head every fucking time.
I mean, okay, cool.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
If you want to use that same kind of
My life.
science knowledge, if you're
Science.
boiling water or
Science.
pasta or anything, you
Wooden
can lay
spoon.
your wooden spoon over the top and
Oh,
it will
yeah.
keep the pot from
I have
overboiling.
done that.
You can also, depending on what you're cooking, just put olive oil on the surface of the water.
So
Is
there
this
you
the
go.
same concept as like the dog water feeder things where you
What do you
like
mean?
have the
What?
jug of water and you flip it upside down?
Oh yeah.
Same
No,
concept,
no,
right?
Hannah. I think that's just gravity.
Oh.
Yeah, not quite the same. Not quite the same concept.
Somebody
No,
t-
but you know how it like doesn't overflow the
No,
bowl?
it's just like
it,
when you-
perfectly.
no, I think that's just physics.
It's just like when you
that
on
is
your
physics too.
Well, I guess you're right.
it's just like on your last beer when you poured it right down the middle of the glass
Mhm.
and it gave that big head and you
Foamed
stuck
up.
your finger in it.
Mm-hmm.
Same
You
concept.
saw that?
It's the salt.
You just break the
It's the salt.
It's a tension thing, right?
No, it's the
you're
salt.
Well, okay, whatever. Move on. Talk about your freaking beer.
Oh, I don't know.
Apparently, they serve margaritas at this platypus place as well. I don't know what to think.
They must be
about.
beer Ritas.
I no. It says full bar. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. This beer's terrible, y'all. I can't stand it.
My little snack's not the little snack I was looking for.
Little snack.
No.
Little snack. Little snack.
I like my little snacks to be a little bodied.
Ooh, he said he likes his little
He likes
snacks
a body.
thick. He wants some
I like a
thick little
body.
snack.
I like a body.
Something to grab onto, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, they're called love handles for a reason.
Little snack.
Episode 3, y'all.
It is happening.
Yeah, look at it.
It looks like water.
It's dead. It has very little flavor.
Why would anybody drink that?
I don't know, 5.8. It's terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Look. So this is a Kolsch, my platypus brewing that you can't be found on the internet. Look, man, it's got flavor. I'll give them that. It's got some flavor. It's got a little breadiness. It's got a little. I can taste some of the malt. There's zero hop on it. So like it gives me something to deal with. It gives me something to taste. So this beer is a Kolsch, and look, I'm gonna cut to the chase. Not a fan of anything I've had from Platypus. I love Washington Ave. I'm sure your food's great, but this beer is not. I'm gonna give it a 5.2. Hannah, thoughts on Crawford Bock?
I've had it before. It's not my favorite. I'm gonna give it a 4.
What?
Don't love it. Yeah,
My girl. I don't really fuck with it either, and I love Bucks.
It's one of my favorite beers.
It's very. I don't know beer lingo, and I have no idea what I'm looking for when it comes to taste. But it's acidic.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it tastes like if you were to like grind up a bunch of citrus fruit, drain it, and sprinkle it in water. It's like it has that like acidy flavor that you would find in a citrus fruit without the actual flavor.
Okay.
But no flavor outside
And
of
that's
that
all.
acid.
And then it dies for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes from the coffee.
Coffee? What are you talking
Similar.
about?
Coffee has acid in it.
Yeah, it
Is
does.
it-
And box have coffee flavors. That's what the grains produce. That's the darker color. The higher you go up the Lovabond scale, the more it
That's
starts
what
to
it is.
taste like coffee and tobacco, and the more acidic it gets. That's what the hops are there for. They're the bittering agent to
Got it.
minimize the acid. If you were looking for a chemistry lesson on how to
Interesting.
brew beer.
We
So
weren't.
How do I not order this and order something closer to the first thing next time I go to a bar?
Yeah. So that
Number one, always order something really, really boozy.
alcohol.
Expensive. Got
No,
it.
Well,
no.
No.
Maybe if you show up to St. Arnold
Mm-hmm.
Brewery, some of their beers are going to be sold in 10-ounce snifter. That's just a type of glass, or 16-ounce pints. If it's sold in a 10-ounce snifter,
Mm-hmm.
you like it.
Okay.
It's
10 ounces. That's what I'm looking for.
It's gonna be like a double. It's gonna be malty. It's
Okay.
gonna be boozy. It's gonna be darker.
Yeah.
It's gonna be thicker. It's gonna be sweeter. I think was a note that you pointed
Mhm.
out. That's what you want to look for.
Okay.
Anything like
Noted.
a barley wine, a Scotch ale. What did we have? Oh yeah, Real Heavy. That was a Scotch ale.
Yeah, I would say that
An Imperial.
when you go, what you're looking for, what you're really, well, I don't know. You think she would fuck with an Imperial? I don't know that she would.
I mean, I don't know what Hannah.
Well, I mean, but if you go too high in an Imperial, you'll get that acid flavor again, but from the hops because it's all the citrus that they're bringing to the table.
fair.
Any browns, and so the way that people kind of do this is called Lovabond, Lovibond, and it's a scale of measuring grain color.
Okay.
Is really all it is. So like mine would be very low. Mine would be like 100. Like this is nothing. Adam's would be something more like 300. Pull yours up. Yeah, you'd be something more like 550.
Mm-hmm.
But like a
and
Russian Imperial is going to be like a
1200.
1200.
Like, if you can't see through it, you're plus 1,000.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like it's how it goes. And you are tending to like darker. So when you go to a bar, just tell somebody you want something Lovabond 600 plus.
Okay.
And they'll give you some kind of brown beer. And
Okay.
you'll probably like it.
Okay.
ales over lagers.
That's helpful.
Okay, Hannah. This is your last episode with us
Well, for today.
for today. Until we do a site visit in Austin. Hey, there's an idea. Okay.
Get a brewery to sponsor it.
Yeah.
So
While we're getting tattoos.
wow, this has turned into a whole thing.
Oh, I would do that.
This has turned into a whole thing.
Adam doesn't have a tattoo. Would you get a tattoo?
I would definitely get a tattoo. Who's paying for it?
The sponsor.
Yeah.
Well, then sure, if it's a free tattoo.
You're going to get Pints and Perspectives tattooed on your ass cheek?
Absolutely not.
Come on, man.
100%.
Do it for the team, Adam.
No.
Ass cheek.
Kevin, come get your child.
It'd be so fun. We could do all kinds of great content off that.
Okay,
Adam,
shut
you
up.
would go viral.
Oh my God, shut up. Hannah. Thoughts on deconstruction? Go.
Oh.
When I brought this up earlier, you had a...
It feels trendy right now. It's been trendy for a little bit.
It is trendy.
I don't like trendy things in general.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Also, like, my faith has changed tremendously
You've deconstructed.
to the extent that, like, I think that there's a level of, like, apophatic faith that's, like, it's like a hopeful agnosticism, right?
Ooh,
Like,
brilliant.
that's like I mean, that's kind of what having an apophatic faith is, right? And yet, the church is made of people that are broken, right? But the church has always been something that's been very hopeful to me. You know, I grew up in poverty, and I mean, the amount of times that groceries anonymously showed up on our doorstep, and the amount of times like people anonymously paid bills or paid, you know, like it's the only place where I feel like I see the manifestation of the goodness of God is like when people serve each other in the local church.
Yeah.
And church can be ugly. I'm not trying to, I've seen that too. but I've never had a moment of bitterness at God or church, truthfully, even if I don't necessarily know that I always believe.
Yeah.
I still think it's very utilitarian. It's very practical for us to have faith communities and to believe in God. Whether God is real or not is not really the point.
Would you say that you have deconstructed your Pentecostal theology, your Pentecostal practice, your Pentecostal theology, your Pentecostal
Theology for sure, not the practice. I'm still very like I love and am proud of the folkiness of the tradition that I was raised in. But do I believe all the systematic theologies like connected to those practices?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
You still use your prayer language?
Yeah.
You still use yours?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't figure. You don't pray.
I don't pray. What
Can you say more about what you don't pray? Is it just
yeah.
I want to challenge that because I think that everyone does.
Let's see. This is
so a big part of chaplaincy is that is the rebuttal. Like even people that don't believe in God, like I would encourage you to like redefine prayer.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So maybe let's talk about this then.
Yeah.
This is a problem when you get with like theologically trained people. Okay, so how would you I would assume that you define prayer now as something very broad. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Does prayer for you involve a intentional communication, might be too strong of a word, but an intentional communication with a deity? From me, like I'm personalizing.
You are trying to speak to a higher power.
Personalizing, not speak, connect with. Maybe communication is not the right word here.
Well, I mean, you can communicate without speaking.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So I will say one of two things.
Okay.
Because I'm a chaplain, I'm often asked to pray for people. And there is a sense of it's like a petition.
Okay.
Like, right. That's prayers of petition.
Yep.
And
like God help this situation.
And that is not congruent with my own faith. I do it because it is helpful to them, not because it's congruent to what I believe, right? So, and that's a big part of like what I think it means to offer good pastoral care. It's not actually about what I need right now. This is what you need in this moment, so I can do that for you. Yes, it doesn't do anything for me, right? For me, prayer is very much about intention and gratitude. It's not about petition.
Okay.
It's not about even necessarily like needing to offer something, but it's setting an intention for what my hopes, desires, needs are, and then being humble enough to recognize that I have already have so much, right?
The gratitude piece. So what methodology do you personally like? I know that if you're in a hospital room, you're like playing like God, please heal Shane of his whatever.
Yeah.
But for you, what is that? If it's not petition, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what's the mode?
Yeah. So my prayers these days, I don't say it's not like a dear God, dear Jesus. Yeah. Like I think I already said. Yo? I have a weird thing about like personalizing God that feels
right. That's
dirty
an apophatic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a lot more of like, I feel helpless right now.
So is it a feeling?
It is very somatic. I feel this right now. God, I feel helpless right now.
Okay. Now look, what you just did something there, Hannah. Oh yeah. You went from having a feeling to taking that feeling and articulating it to something outside of someone.
Something outside of myself, not a person, but something outside of myself. It's recognizing myself in a context, right? This is how I'm feeling. It's also not the whole story of the world.
But there is a divine personality out there somewhere that is being directed to in some way, right?
I think it depends on my day. Depends on the moment for me.
Fair. Yeah. Can an atheist pray?
I think yes.
How?
All do.
How?
I think similar to what I just said, right? It's like you don't have to put God. You don't have to put an article in front of that. But like it is a somatic experience of plea.
But also
for
like
help.
But also like a recognition of that somatic experience. So is that how is a somatic plea not also in some way a petition? If it, I guess it's the plea part, like the help or because I guess
it's where you are expecting help to come from.
Okay.
And it's the expectation that help will arrive anyways. Like
So
in the
where
first
are you,
place.
if you make a plea, where are you expecting help to arrive from?
I think most helplessness and hopelessness is not for most people. Those are feelings that we feel. We've all felt helpless.
Yeah.
We've all felt hopeless.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you are explicitly asking for a savior, right? A person or something outside of yourself. It's a recognition that I don't have hope right now.
Are you familiar with metaphor theory?
No.
Okay, metaphor theory is the concept. I'll spare you the lesson. There's a great book published by Chicago Press. Timothy Johnson, I think is his name. Metaphors We Live By. Fantastic book. Changed the way I thought about language. Basically, the concept is that all language breaks down to a metaphor. Like the reason that you understand the definition of the word hot is because you had a metaphor of like a flame from a child or something like that. For me, when you say the word plea, I can't help but think about someone making a plea, guilty or not guilty, to a judge, and definitely asking for that judge to impart some kind of mercy. But you're not using that word that way. So give me, what is your metaphor? How are you using that word?
Great question.
Yeah, I think for me, it goes back to a somatic feeling of helplessness. I feel helpless. There is nothing around me that I can see or touch or reach for that could offer me relief. And it's just a recognition of that feeling in my body.
So it's just like if you were in a relationship, it's like, hey, just because I feel the need to say this doesn't mean that I need you, my other partner, to fix it. I just need you to hear what I have to say. Yeah. Just like the ability to speak presence and emotion and regulate your own feelings based on a conversation and the ability to communicate those thoughts.
Yeah, it's a recognition of self. It's just having self-awareness. I think so much of and the ironic thing is that when we personalize God and we pray to a deity to save us, it doesn't actually allow us to have that self-awareness, right? To actually articulate what our needs are and to be able to find that inner strength or resources within ourselves.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I was, ironically, I was just in therapy the other day and yesterday, and just kind of talking to my therapist. I was like, I don't know that I'm angry at God, but like me and God definitely got like some kind of beef. Like there's like some kind of obstacle or barrier between us. Just, and I noticed it because, since I was like 15, I've carried a Bible with me everywhere I went, everywhere. Until like 2 weeks ago.
Interesting.
I don't carry it anymore. I probably haven't read it in like 4 months, which is also like unheard of. Yeah. Like, and I think lots of it is just this, like, for me, I was like, it doesn't make much sense to me. And it was causing anger between me and God that like, I'm asking, like I'm pleading for something and like nothing is happening. And my therapist was like, that's not the way God works. Like if you ask God to do something, or if you ask God like what's right, I think God's going to ask you, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like that's what a parent does. A parent doesn't say, no, or let me phrase, a good parent doesn't say, this is what is ordained for you. You have to be a lawyer. You have to be a doctor. You have to be XYZ. No, a good parent says, what do you want to do with your life? Nobody ever told me that was a freaking option for like God. Everybody's like, oh yeah, good father, but like other terrifying, like scary metaphor of God.
Penal substitutionary atonement.
Yeah. So well, it's a very transactional relationship, isn't it? It's like I do the right things and then you can be my wise counsel whenever I need it. Or 100%. Like
100%.
Yeah. It doesn't allow for a lot of agency, does it?
Not
personal
on your
agency.
Side or God's side.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it allows for 100% agency on God's side, but only that you're a slave. You're a servant. You're no longer a child. Yeah. You only do what God says.
Yeah.
So for you, this episode is no longer about deconstruction. So no, it's fine. So for you, like what does the active, this goes back to like the past 2 episodes. What does God do in the life of.
Are you asking a question of like telos, of purpose? Or are you asking a question of like motive? Or are you asking a question of actual agency and intervention?
Yeah, agency. And, let me set up a scenario, and maybe you help me with which one of those. I think I know. When you're in the hospital room and you're with a family who's about to turn the machines off.
Yeah.
Okay. And that moment's about to happen. What's God doing in that moment? Now listen, not what you're doing. Maybe you're equating the two. Not what you're doing, not what the people are doing, not what the person who is about to make this fundamental change. What is God doing?
What is divinity doing in that moment?
So even amongst all of my Pentecostalness, I have for a long time kind of been in this very deistic place. Just like I don't actually see tangible moves of God in the real world. But I think and I still have those thoughts, especially in times of like strife, like, but I think, on my best days and probably 80% of the time, again, I go back to this very apophatic faith where like an apophatic faith requires, divination, right? It's this like, God is not outside of me, but God is actually like the kingdom of heaven is within.
And that's valid.
And so like what's happening in the hospital room, and this goes back to like somatic experience, is when you are making space for people to uncover, discover, unbury their emotions and their experience, and you are making space for it, they get to experience God by looking internally and by doing their own inner work of processing what's happening in the moment.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah. So
God doesn't come to save the situation. God doesn't like supernaturally come down and like take your big feelings away. Or he'll make the cancer disappear or whatever. But what's happening is like, because we're made in the image of God, like
it's like the divinity within you.
Yeah. Our humanity becoming manifest in such a raw way is the way that we experience the divine in
That's
crisis.
quite eminent of you, Hannah. Oh yeah.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It is.
God is quite very present in that moment.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of presence in that. And it's not for the sake of like changing circumstances necessarily, but it's a presence that the efficacy of the presence is actually what? Like comfort and hope.
Yeah.
Or like
comfort and hope.
Peace maybe. Yeah. Shalom maybe.
I do have a question about, you made a comment that you're pretty deistic in your kind of thoughts about God.
And when I'm in nihilistic spaces, for sure.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's where I live.
Yeah. Well, I think in some ways, like conceptually, me too, because like I don't live in the Book of Acts. Like I don't walk down the road and like
nobody does
pull people up and they're healed. But you did grow up Pentecostal, and that's quite a huge, and you did too. And I asked Adam about, Adam doesn't believe in miracles anymore.
I don't.
No concept of miracles in his belief.
Wait, come on.
Adam, did Jesus raise Lazarus from the dead?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably
Adam does
not believe in miracles.
If he walked out of the grave, I would assume that he wasn't actually dead.
He's just like the lady from Florida that was prematurely put in her.
There's a news story about this.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, like Adam doesn't believe in miracles.
Yeah.
I think I do. Like my grandmother tells me stories, and her and all of her family and 100 witnesses that were there said they visibly watched my grandmother's leg grow.
Yeah.
My grandmother had a very rare disease where one leg was shorter than the other, and it made her spine kind of crooked. And they literally prayed an inch and a half onto her leg.
Yeah.
These stories exist.
Yeah.
And like for me, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen so much shit like that.
So how can you now sit there today and say you're deistic in your thought and that God doesn't show up?
Well, she said on her worst days.
Yeah, on my worst days, but
even in those hospital rooms, like. Is there no way to have hope for something more?
No. So I refuse to like equate hope with miracle. You can have hope without having a miracle.
Yeah, well said.
But also,
what are you hoping for if not a miracle, though?
Peace.
Yeah, just like a way to move forward in life. Yeah,
a way to cope, a way to
see. I get that part.
Acceptance of mortality, like. Man, that's the way I pray these days is I just want to accept the inevitable.
Yeah.
I want to stop wrestling with what will ultimately happen. Every single person I love is going to die.
Everyone's going to die, man.
I'm going to die.
Right.
My existence will be annihilated.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's hope. That's peace. That's peace.
You know, and I don't need I don't need a miracle in that sense. You know, something supernatural, something material.
But in those moments, don't you think that's what those people are looking for?
No.
No.
Sometimes, you know, the best death I was ever a part of, there was this woman who was like, I don't know, in her 90s. And she was so great. She had her whole family at her bedside. And I walked in and she was just grumpy and frustrated and uncomfortable, actively dying. She was on comfort care.
Oh.
And she told me, she had me pray for her. And she said, if God does not take me home tonight, if I wake up in the morning, I am going to be so fucking angry. And she said it with a smile on her face. Like, she was like, I am so ready. I want to be at peace. There's no reason for me to suffer.
Yeah.
I've had a long, beautiful life.
Yeah.
I trust in whatever happens hereafter. I've made amends. I've said I'm sorry. I've said I love you to my family.
Yeah. How old is this person though?
In her 90s.
Yeah. See, I'm more asking about the 35-year-old mother that has to sit there with you when her 15-year-old's sitting there with a GSW and about to die.
Yeah.
That woman wants a miracle, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. And so in that moment, do you
pray for a miracle?
Yeah, that you're praying for her anyways, right? And you said it's a pastoral care moment. So are you praying for a miracle that you're not sure is going to happen, or are you just praying for her own peace and
I'm
ability
praying
to
for
move forward?
wisdom for doctors. I'm praying for wise and careful medical intervention. I'm praying for peace. I'm praying for comfort. I'm praying for those are the tangible things I'm praying for. I don't use miracle language.
Do you pray for dead people to raise from the dead?
No.
Okay.
I don't think death is the enemy.
Okay. Do you pray?
Okay. What is the enemy? Maybe a better question.
No, now you're starting a new episode. You're starting a new episode. We've only got 5 minutes left.
All right, Hannah is coming back for other series.
Do you pray for limbs to? Do you pray for sight for the blind?
Why?
Hold on, pause. Did you used to?
No, I never have.
Not even in the most charismatic
No.
days. See, I did.
You were never like treasure hunting. Like you never did any of that like charismaniac stuff.
No. I mean, I prayed when people were ill, when there was sickness.
You pray for like
but
so
like
somebody with cancer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would pay for healing for that.
Somebody with
That's
meningitis.
really different than growing someone's leg.
Indeed.
Right? Like one of those is terminal. One of those is not.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, for
one
sure.
of those is just a normal affliction that, you know, we all have.
People have, yeah.
Do you believe that God does still do those things, even though you don't pray for them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that I believe that God ever did those things.
Yeah.
I
See?
saw that shit with my
Jesus
eyes.
Okay, raised Lazarus from the dead?
Wait. She said she saw it with her
I saw that shit with my eyes, and I still don't know what I believe about it.
This is how
it happened. It happened. I refuse to assign explanation to those things. They were beautiful.
So is that like divine mystery, or is that like just course of the universe?
She says she don't know.
I'm really comfortable living in the tension of I don't know.
I think this is where I'm at, Hannah. I think you're the first person who's really put language to that for me.
But you're outspokenly not there. You're like, no, God doesn't do that. That never happened.
But what I'm trying to say is I think Hannah's helping me in this moment right now, because I think that like I have seen those things with my eyes too. And I think I personally refuse to ascribe cause, meaning, origin, you know, all these things. Because I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, but that also at the same time doesn't necessarily mean that God is real or not real either, right? Like it doesn't have that bearing either.
And there's also a lot of consequences if it were true.
There's a ton of consequences.
Like if God really did heal people like that.
Correct.
That's very consequential. Like, why the fuck aren't you doing that all the time?
Why
couldn't agree more.
It could just be my own safety, you know, to choose to not wrestle with that further. because for my own sake, I recognized in my life that God is a concept I need, and yet, the struggle of the Odyssey, right, is one that, like, at some point for your own sanity, you just have to say, I don't know when I'm gonna have to be okay not knowing that.
Divine mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we did like multiple episodes.
12 episodes
on the problem
the
of
Odyssey.
evil. On the problem of evil.
Okay.
Because like it is my big hang up.
Well, it's my hang up too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was walking around as an agnostic for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like, if God is good, then like the Holocaust shouldn't exist. If God is good and all powerful, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was the basis of our series.
We don't need to re-prosecute Theodicy here. Hannah, has this been an enjoyable experience for
Yeah,
you?
it's been fun to shoot the shit with. It's been a long time since I've even talked to theology with anyone because,
I know.
frankly, I don't care much these days.
I know.
Yeah.
Literally,
That's how we feel,
That's
too.
exactly how we feel too. But we do this podcast because I don't know. Like maybe we're sadist.
I think I do this podcast because there are lots of people that are interested in it, and I don't want the main narrative to be the only narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point.
But I think the other thing that I do about this podcast is like I've forgotten more about God than most people ever know.
Well, and
Yeah,
it's
it's just
that's
like
so real.
I can ooze conversations like this with a simple Google to jog memories,
Yeah.
and I'm immediately brought back into weeks of classroom.
yeah, we can do this. We
Yeah,
can do
and
this,
I remember books and quotes from books and pages. Like, whatever. And it's fun.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to do this with us
Yes.
in particular, and hopefully even
You
though
will
you
come
are,
back.
Yeah.
Well, anytime y'all want to like continue to work out your salvation by just wrestling over stupid shit that doesn't actually matter.
That's all we do on this podcast.
Call me. Let's do it again.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Hannah.
See you on the
Appreciate it.
next one.
Thanks for listening to the Pints and Perspectives podcast hosted by WellHouse Church. Be sure to give us a rating and a review if you enjoyed the episode. It's free and it helps us immensely. Also, feel free to check out our other podcasts.